First Contact's surprise. The crystalline research vessel, Stellar Seeker, hung in Earth's orbit like a delicate snowflake catching starlight. Lead researcher Vix adjusted their sensory appendages, studying the blue planet below with what their species considered mild amusement. Another Class II world, they announced to their crew of intergalactic zoologists. Atmospheric composition suggests primitive life forms, likely nothing beyond basic predator-prey relationships. Junior researcher Call, their most enthusiastic crew member, vibrated their crystal formations in excitement. But lead researcher, our preliminary scans show complex vertebrate life forms. Yes, Vix waved a crystalline appendage dismissively. But nothing like the plasma-breathing draconids of Proxima b or the psychic hunting packs of Tau Ceti. This will be a simple categorical study. How wrong they were. Their first landing site was chosen for its apparent simplicity, a grassland region in what humans called Africa. The research team, encased in their crystalline environmental suits, set up their observation equipment with practiced efficiency. Fascinating primitive herbivores, Vix noted, observing a herd of what their database identified as African buffalo. They appear to be basic grazers with minimal defensive capabilities. The words had barely left their communication crystal when the herd suddenly tensed. A low rumble vibrated through the ground, and before the alien researchers could adjust their sensors, the simple herbivores had formed a defensive wall, horns facing outward. The reason became apparent as 6 lionesses emerged from the tall grass, moving with lethal precision. What followed was a display of coordinated hunting that left the research team in stunned silence. That's pack hunting behavior, Call whispered, their crystal structure trembling. With complex strategic movements and role specialization, our classification systems indicate this level of coordination shouldn't exist on a Class II world. But the surprises weren't over. As the lions closed in, the buffalo didn't flee in panic as expected. Instead, they launched a synchronized counterattack, their massive horns and 2-ton bodies moving with surprising agility. One lion was caught and tossed several meters into the air. Update the classification matrices, Vix ordered, their usual calm demeanor cracking. These creatures demonstrate Class III combat capabilities at minimum. The day continued to shatter their preconceptions. They witnessed elephants using tools to dig for water, baboons utilizing multi-step processes to access food, and a honey badger, a creature seemingly too small to be of consequence, fearlessly driving a pride of lions away from their kill. As dusk approached, the research team retreated to their ship, their data crystals overflowing with observations that defied their previous classifications. But their most shocking encounter was yet to come. During their ascent, their ship's sensors detected a massive energy signature approaching rapidly. Before they could react, a colossal shape breached the surface of a nearby lake. A Nile crocodile, a species that their initial scans had dismissed as a simple aquatic predator. The creature's jaws, capable of exerting forces that rivaled their ship's industrial compressors, snapped shut mere meters from their hull. The ship's shield sensors registered pressure levels that forced an immediate recalibration. Impossible. Vix's crystal structure paled to an almost transparent state. These readings suggest bite force comparable to the war beasts of Rigel VI, on a supposedly primitive world. Back in orbit, the research team huddled around their data terminals, their crystalline forms flickering with agitation as they reviewed their findings. Lead researcher, Call ventured, their voice resonating with concern. I've been analyzing the planetary defense databases. Do you realize that humans, the dominant species on this world, developed their early hunting techniques by studying these creatures? Vix's response was interrupted by an alert from their long-range scanners. Their crystalline structure nearly shattered when they processed the readings. Are those human ships heading into deep space? Affirmative, Call confirmed. And according to our data, they've named some of their vessel classes after Earth's predators. Shark-class interceptors, wolf-pack fleet formations. The implications hit VIX like a gravitational wave. They had completely underestimated not just Earth's wildlife, but the species that had evolved alongside these creatures and survived. Send an immediate update to the Galactic Scientific Council, VIX ordered, their voice carrying the weight of their revelation. Earth requires immediate reclassification, and add a warning. Any species that could evolve to dominance on a world with such predators must be approached with utmost caution and respect. As the message was transmitted across the stars, VIX couldn't help but wonder what other surprises this deceptively primitive world held. They had only explored a tiny fraction of Earth's ecosystems, and already their understanding of evolutionary possibilities had been completely transformed. Their ship turned away from Earth, its crystalline surface reflecting the sun's light like a departing star. But this wouldn't be the last visit to this remarkable world. There were still mysteries to unravel, though perhaps, VIX thought, with considerably more preparation next time. Deep Blue Terror. 2 standard cycles after their initial Earth expedition, the Stellar Seeker returned with upgraded shields and a reinforced research team. Lead researcher VIX had spent considerable time convincing the Galactic Scientific Council that further study of Earth's biosphere was crucial, despite the risks. Our aquatic exploration vessel is equipped with the finest defense systems in the galaxy, announced Technical Director Zin, their silvery crystalline form gleaming with pride. Nothing in these primitive oceans could possibly breach our hull. The research vessel descended into the Pacific Ocean's depths, its crystalline structure adapting to the increasing pressure. The team had chosen to begin their marine research in what humans called the Great Barrier Reef, assuming a colorful ecosystem of small fish would be a safe starting point. They couldn't have been more wrong. Fascinating coral formation at 2 o'clock. Call noted, now promoted to senior researcher after their previous expedition's insights. The biodiversity readings are off our chart's weight. What's that movement? A saltwater crocodile, having remained motionless and nearly invisible against the reef, suddenly launched itself at their vessel with shocking speed. The ship's shields flared as the ancient predator's jaws clamped down with enough force to trigger their proximity alarms. "By the Crystal Nebula," Zin exclaimed, their form vibrating with shock. "That bite force, it's comparable to our military-grade compression units." Before they could fully process this encounter, their sensors detected a new threat. A tiger shark, attracted by their ship's energy signature, began circling them with predatory intent. "Observe its electromagnetic sensing organs," Call commented, trying to maintain scientific detachment despite their growing unease. "It's reading our shield harmonics as if they were bioelectric fields." The shark suddenly charged, its rows of serrated teeth scraping against their shields with a sound that resonated through their crystalline bodies. The vessel's defensive systems registered multiple points of pressure, each tooth applying forces that would have shredded standard hull plating. "Ascend! Ascend!" VIX ordered, their usually melodious voice crackling with stress. But as they rose from the reef, their problems only multiplied. The pod of orcas, having noticed the commotion, decided to investigate. The massive marine mammals approached with an intelligence that unsettled the entire research team. "They're communicating," Call whispered, analyzing the complex series of clicks and whistles. "Not just simple predator vocalizations. This is sophisticated pack coordination." The orcas began a series of coordinated movements, testing the vessel's defenses from multiple angles. Each impact was precisely calculated, targeting potential weak points with an almost tactical precision. "This is impossible." Zin's crystal structure had paled considerably. "They're demonstrating problem-solving abilities that rival our own military training protocols." Their retreat to deeper waters proved no safer. In the darkness of the mesopelagic zone, their sensors detected something massive rising from below. A sperm whale, the largest toothed predator ever to exist, emerged from the gloom. The whale's biosonar blast hit their ship with such force that several of their more delicate instruments shattered. The crystalline crew experienced the closest thing their species had to vertigo as the sound waves resonated through their bodies. Its echolocation capability exceeds our most advanced sonar technology, Zen managed to report, their voice still shaking. The acoustic force alone could stun most known species. But the true horror awaited them in the Hadal Zone. As they descended to one of Earth's deepest ocean trenches, their lights illuminated something that would haunt their memory crystals forever. A giant squid locked in combat with a sperm whale. The battle between these titans of the deep was like nothing in their scientific records. The squid's tentacles, armed with razor-sharp hooks, clashed against the whale's powerful jaws in an ancient dance of predator versus prey. "Update our classification systems immediately," Vex commanded, their voice carrying an edge of awe and terror. "Earth's oceans require their own category. This isn't just a Class 4 environment. We're witnessing evolutionary arms races that have produced combat capabilities beyond our current classification scale." As they finally surfaced, their ship's external cameras caught sight of something that made them question everything they thought they knew about Earth's wildlife. A pod of dolphins was methodically herding fish using complex hunting strategies, while seabirds coordinated their attacks from above, and beneath the surface, larger predators waited to capitalize on the chaos. It's not just about individual predators, Call realized, their crystalline form pulsing with excitement despite their fear. The entire ecosystem is an interconnected web of evolutionary warfare. Each species has developed increasingly sophisticated survival strategies in response to the others. Back aboard the Stellar Seeker, Vix composed their report to the Galactic Scientific Council. Earth's oceans represent a level of predatory evolution previously thought impossible on a single world. We've observed intelligence, tool use, coordinated hunting, and weapons development that rival our most advanced military systems. And we've barely scratched the surface. As they transmitted their findings, a final thought occurred to Vix. If these are the creatures that humans learn to navigate around, hunt, and eventually domesticate, what does that suggest about humanity's own capabilities? The answer to that question would have to wait. Their next mission would take them into Earth's rainforests, where new terrors awaited. But as they prepared for their next expedition, one thing was certain. They would never again underestimate any species that called Earth home. Jungle survival. The Amazon rainforest loomed before the Stellar Seekers research team, a vibrant wall of green that their sensors struggled to penetrate. After their harrowing oceanic expedition, lead researcher Vix had insisted on additional security measures, including new energy shields calibrated specifically for terrestrial threats. "The canopy density is interfering with our long-range scanners," reported junior researcher Rin, their crystalline form displaying nervous rainbow patterns. "We're detecting thousands of life forms, but can't distinguish their threat levels." The team's landing pod descended through the canopy layers, creating small gaps in the foliage that quickly closed behind them like hungry moths. They had chosen a small clearing for their base camp, believing it would provide better visibility against large predators. "At least there aren't any massive creatures like in the oceans," technical director Zin commented, still shaken from their underwater encounters. Their relief was short-lived. A deep, resonant roar echoed through the forest, causing their crystalline forms to vibrate uncomfortably. Their sensors identified the source. A jaguar, approaching with liquid grace through the underbrush. "Fascinating," Call murmured, now the team's expert on terrestrial predators. "Unlike the lions we encountered, this felid hunts alone and has evolved the strongest bite force relative to size of any big cat. It can puncture the skulls of its prey with a single bite." The jaguar circled their camp, its movements deliberately slow and calculated. The research team watched in horror as it easily climbed a nearby tree, demonstrating an agility that seemed to defy its muscular bulk. "Its hunting strategy is three-dimensional," Vix observed, their voice carrying a note of scientific appreciation despite their fear. "It can attack from any angle, including above." But the jaguar was just the beginning of their jungle education. As they set up their research equipment, Rin noticed something unusual on their atmospheric sensors. "There's a high concentration of toxins in this area," they reported, adjusting their instruments. "But I can't locate the source." "There." Call pointed to a tiny, brilliantly colored frog no larger than one of their data crystals. A poison dart frog. Its skin secretes enough toxin to kill several large predators. Our database suggests a single specimen contains enough poison to kill 10 humans. The team watched in fascinated horror as the tiny amphibian hopped casually past their camp, completely unconcerned by their presence. Size is meaningless here, Vix realized, their crystal structure paling. Everything has evolved some form of defense or attack mechanism. Their observation was proven correct throughout the day. They documented bullet ants, whose sting pain rating broke their measurement scales, spider webs strong enough to catch birds, and parasitic fungi that could take over insect neural systems. "The level of chemical warfare in this ecosystem is unprecedented," Zinn reported, analyzing their findings. "These species have developed toxins that could be valuable in our medical research if we can survive collecting them." As night fell, the forest transformed. New sounds emerged from the darkness, and their bioscanners detected increased activity all around them. A rustling in the canopy drew their attention upward, where they spotted a massive anaconda slowly making its way through the branches. "It's tracking heat signatures," Call warned, noting how the serpent's head turned toward their equipment. "Our technology might be advanced, but these creatures have perfected their hunting techniques over millions of years." The team's night observations were interrupted by a blood-curdling scream, not from any of them, but from a howler monkey marking its territory. The sound carried for kilometers through the forest, demonstrating yet another way Earth's species had evolved to claim their domain. "The biological arms race here is beyond anything we've documented," Vix noted, updating their research logs. "Every adaptation by one species has led to counter-adaptations by others. The result is an ecosystem where even the plants have developed complex defense mechanisms." To prove their point, Rin's sensors detected a massive spike in chemical signatures nearby. A tree under attack from insects had released airborne signals that summoned predatory ants to defend it. "They've developed interspecies alliances," Call marveled. "The boundaries between predator and prey aren't just blurred, they're constantly shifting." Their expedition reached its climax when they attempted to study what appeared to be a simple bird nest. The harpy eagle that descended from above moved faster than their defensive systems could track, its talons leaving scratch marks on their protective shields that would require immediate repair. "The physical capabilities of these creatures exceed our theoretical models," Zinn admitted, examining the damage. "Their evolutionary paths have produced combinations of strength, speed, and tactical intelligence that we previously thought impossible." As they prepared to leave the rainforest, their sensors detected one final surprise: a colony of army ants on the march. The scale of the colony's coordination, with millions of individuals working as a single superorganism, left them speechless. "We need to fundamentally revise our understanding of Earth's ecosystems," Vix declared as they ascended through the canopy. "This isn't just about individual predators or species. The entire rainforest is one interconnected combat zone, where every living thing has evolved to be either a weapon or a shield, and often both." Their ship broke through the clouds, leaving the Amazon behind. But the lessons they learned there would reshape their understanding of evolution, warfare, and survival. As they prepared for their next expedition into Earth's deserts, they wondered what new horrors awaited them in those seemingly empty landscapes. Little did they know, the desert would prove that even in the most barren environments, Earth's wildlife had evolved to be equally terrifying, just in different ways. Desert's deadly secrets. The Stellar Seeker hovered above the Australian outback, its crystalline surface reflecting the harsh desert sun. After their encounters in the rainforest, the research team had theorized that a more sparse environment might offer safer observation opportunities. Lead researcher Vix was about to discover just how wrong that assumption was. Minimal vegetation, extreme temperature variations, limited water sources. Technical directors reported their crystal structure optimistically bright. Surely this environment can't support the same level of predatory evolution we've encountered elsewhere. The landing pod touched down on the red Earth, kicking up a cloud of dust that their sensors quickly analyzed for microbial life. The readings made Call's crystalline form flicker with concern. Even the soil here is teeming with highly adapted organisms, they reported, and our thermal sensors are detecting far more activity than visible observation would suggest. Their first surprise came in the form of a seemingly innocuous spider web stretched between desert shrubs. Junior researcher Rin approached to take readings, only to recoil when their instruments identified the species. A Sydney funnel web spider, they announced, their voice resonating with tension. Its venom has evolved specifically to target nervous systems. Our database indicates it's one of the most potent neurotoxins on the planet. The team watched as the spider emerged from its funnel, its movements precise and purposeful. Even through their protective fields, they could sense its aggressive stance. This wasn't a creature that fled from threats. Remarkable, Vix noted, recording the observation. It's actively defending its territory despite our obviously superior size. The venom must be exceptionally effective as a deterrent. A sudden movement caught their attention, a flash of brown scales sliding across the sand. Before anyone could react, an eastern brown snake had struck at their shield perimeter, its fangs releasing venom that their sensors immediately classified as lethal. The speed of the attack was faster than our standard combat reflexes, Zin observed, their professional detachment barely masking their alarm. And the venom. It's complex enough to qualify as a biological weapon by galactic standards. As they processed this encounter, their perimeter alerts began blaring. A mob of kangaroos approached their position, moving with a coordinated precision that suggested intelligence. Their locomotion is entirely unique, Call commented, analyzing the readings. They've evolved a method of movement that's both energy efficient and allows for burst speeds exceeding our safety protocols. The team watched in amazement as the largest male rose to its full height, muscles rippling under fur adapted to the harsh sun. Its powerful tail served as a third leg, creating a tripod stance that their xenobiologists had never encountered before. The physical strength readings are off our charts, Rin reported. Those hind legs could disembowel a predator with a single kick, and they regularly engage in combat rituals that would cripple most species. As the day progressed, the desert revealed more of its secrets. They documented thorny devils that could extract water from the air itself, adaptations that seemed to defy their understanding of physics. They observed parenti monitors that could run on their hind legs, combining reptilian efficiency with almost avian mobility. But their most unnerving discovery came when they began analyzing the smaller life forms. A seemingly empty patch of sand revealed dozens of highly venomous scorpions under their ultraviolet sensors. The concentration of lethal species in this environment exceeds rational probability. Vix noted, their scientific curiosity warring with growing concern. It's as if the harsh conditions have accelerated the evolution of defense mechanisms. Their theory was tested when they encountered their first inland tapir, a snake so venomous that their toxin analysts had to recalibrate their equipment. One bite contains enough venom to kill 100 members of their own species, Call reported, their voice carrying a note of disbelief. The evolutionary pressure to develop such potent venom must have been extraordinary. As night fell, bringing a dramatic temperature drop, the team discovered that darkness offered no reprieve. Their sensors detected numerous nocturnal predators, each perfectly adapted to hunting in the cold desert night. The dingo packs are displaying sophisticated hunting strategies, Zin observed, watching the wild canids coordinate their movements with an efficiency that rivaled military operations. They've adapted to both solitary and group hunting, making them unpredictable threats. The night also revealed thousands of eyes reflecting their lights, huntsman spiders, emerging to hunt. Their size and speed caused several team members to involuntarily adjust their crystal lattices in distress. These arachnids can traverse vertical surfaces at high speeds, Wren noted, tracking their movements. Their neural processing must be incredibly advanced to coordinate 8 legs with such precision. As their desert expedition drew to a close, the team gathered to compile their findings. The seemingly empty landscape had revealed itself to be an evolutionary pressure cooker, producing creatures with capabilities that challenged their understanding of biology. "We must update our classification systems again," Vix announced, their crystal structure pulsing with the gravity of their discovery. These desert species demonstrate that scarcity of resources doesn't limit evolutionary advancement, it accelerates it. As they prepared to leave the outback, their sensors detected one final anomaly, a small duck-billed creature approaching a nearby water source. "Surely this one must be harmless," Zen suggested hopefully. Call quickly consulted their database. "That's a platypus. It's one of the few venomous mammals, carries genetic code from multiple species, and defies most of our classification systems." Even Earth scientists were baffled by its existence. The team fell silent, watching the improbable creature. In many ways, it perfectly symbolized their entire Earth expedition. Just when they thought they understood the rules of evolution and adaptation, Earth's wildlife proved them wrong. Their ship lifted off, leaving the desert behind, but the implications of their discoveries weighed heavily on their minds. If a seemingly harsh and empty environment could produce such formidable creatures, what did that suggest about the species that had managed to dominate this world? The answer would come in their final expedition, but first, they needed to report their findings to the Galactic Scientific Council. Earth's deserts had proven that nowhere on this planet was truly safe, and they still had one more ecosystem to explore. Respectful retreat. The Galactic Scientific Council's central chamber was packed with representatives from across the galaxy. The crystalline forms of various species sparkled under the chamber's ambient light as lead researcher Vix prepared to present their Earth expedition findings. Their research team stood behind them, their structures still showing signs of stress from their experiences. "Esteemed council members," Vix began, their voice resonating through the chamber, "we must completely revise our understanding of planetary classification and evolutionary potential. Earth defies everything we thought we knew about life's development." The holographic display activated, showing their first encounter with Earth's wildlife. Council members shifted uncomfortably as they watched the footage of lions coordinating their attacks, crocodiles demonstrating bite forces that rivaled industrial machinery, and sharks displaying hunting intelligence that matched military tactical systems. "These were just our initial discoveries," Vix continued. "Our ocean exploration revealed predatory capabilities beyond our current classification scale." The footage shifted to show the deep-sea encounters, causing several council members to dim their crystalline structures in shock. "The sperm whale's biosonar exceeds our most advanced technology," Technical Director Zin added, stepping forward. "Their hunting techniques in the Midnight Zone demonstrate problem-solving abilities we previously thought impossible for non-sentient species." The display changed to their rainforest expedition, showing the complex web of predator-prey relationships and chemical warfare that had evolved there. Several junior council members had to recalibrate their sensory inputs when presented with the toxicity levels of seemingly harmless creatures. "Even the smallest organisms have developed weapons that would qualify as banned substances under galactic law," Call explained, highlighting the poison dart frogs and bullet ants. "The entire ecosystem is an arms race that has been running for millions of years." The desert footage caused particular concern among the council. "These creatures haven't just survived in hostile conditions," Wren reported. "They've turned the harsh environment itself into a weapon. The concentration of venomous species alone should be mathematically impossible." High Counselor Zex, their ancient crystalline form glowing with wisdom, raised an appendage. "Your evidence is compelling, but surely these are isolated examples." "With respect, High Counselor," Vix responded, "these are merely representative samples. Earth contains dozens of distinct ecosystems, each with its own set of evolutionary arms races. But more importantly, we've been ignoring the most significant implication of our findings. The chamber fell silent as VIX activated their final holographic display, showing human civilization. Consider what it means that a species not only survived in this environment, but became the dominant life form. Humans didn't evolve despite Earth's dangers. They evolved because of them. The display showed humans studying these creatures, learning from them, and even protecting them. They've taken these lethal adaptations and turned them into scientific advancements, Zinn explained. Their medical technology is based on studying venoms. Their vehicle designs are inspired by predator movements. Their military strategies echo hunting patterns they observed in nature. But most crucially, Call added, they've maintained a complex relationship with their world's deadliest species. They study them, respect them, and preserve them, understanding that each creature, no matter how dangerous, plays a vital role in their planet's ecology. The council chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. Any species that could not just survive but thrive in such an environment would be a force to reckon with in the galaxy. High Counselor Zex raised their appendage for silence. Based on your findings, what classification do you recommend for Earth? VIX's crystal structure pulsed with conviction. Earth cannot be classified under our current system. We need a new category, a death world that produces life champions. Every organism there has been forged in an evolutionary crucible we can barely comprehend. And the humans? Another council member asked. They are not just survivors, VIX responded. They are the apex predators of a world full of apex predators. They've taken every deadly adaptation their world developed and learned from it. Their technology, their strategies, their very way of thinking has been shaped by surviving alongside Earth's most lethal creatures. The Council deliberated for several cycles before reaching their decision. Earth would indeed receive a new classification, and humanity would be approached with far more respect than initially planned. The Council also approved a new directive. Any species seeking to understand humans must first understand the crucible that created them. As the Stellar Seeker's crew prepared to return home, they received news that their findings had already influenced galactic policy. Several military vessels had been recalled for redesign after analyzing the hunting techniques of Earth's predators. Xenobiologists across the galaxy were requesting access to their research data, particularly their studies of Earth's venoms and toxins. Perhaps, VIX mused to their crew as they watched Earth recede in their view screen. We should be grateful that humans seem more interested in exploration and scientific exchange than conquest. Any species that evolved on that planet could have become terrifying warriors. Who says they haven't? Call responded quietly. They've just chosen to be something more interesting. They've become teachers, showing us that even the deadliest world can produce wonders beyond our imagination. The Stellar Seeker's crystalline form sparkled one last time in Earth's sunlight before jumping to hyperspace. Behind them, they left a planet that had forever changed their understanding of life's potential, and a species that had mastered the art of thriving in what should have been impossible conditions. In the ship's database, Earth's new classification glowed with a warning that would be standard reading for all future galactic diplomats. Approach with respect. The creatures of this world have survived challenges we are only beginning to understand, and its dominant species carries the accumulated wisdom of 1 billion years of evolutionary warfare. They are not just survivors, they are the champions of a world that forges everything in fire.